Australian made and owned, Hi-Tec Oils is one of the largest oil blenders in Australia with a truly national profile, supplying an extensive range of oils, coolant, grease, batteries and much more for all businesses and consumer needs. Choose Hi-Tec Oils for peace of mind.
The Hi-Tec Oils Drift Allstars Series has journeyed its way to the southern tablelands of New South Wales for round 2 at Wakefield Park. My name is J-Mac and I'm in the pits, and it's a hotbed of activity as we are set to roll into the on-track action with the Pro Division. A bumper field means we are racked and stacked with some of the best drivers in the country. To take you through the battles, we've got our commentators up in race control, Dan Mackey and Dave Carter.
Thanks for that, legend. Down there in the pits, the sun is shining, but we do have that notorious crisp Wakefield air. Oh, it's cold down there. Perfect turbo weather, Dan.
There's definitely a lot more air density down there. It looks pretty cold. J-Mac looks rather chilly in that jacket. It's going to be a great event. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the best drivers in Australia from all around the country compete. Dave, run us through the championship table.
We are entering round 2 and some points already on the board from round 1. International driver Matt Van Kirk topping the board, coming down under from Formula Drift, borrowing a couple of cars and shows a camaraderie within the drift community. And in second place, Calder El Hooley, one of the El Hooley brothers who lent Matt Van Kirk that car for round 1. Bo the Show Yates, of course, there in third position. I bet he's hungry to gain some points in round 2. Aaron Dewar and Scott Shembry rounding out that top 5. Before we get into the action, we're going to do a walk through the pits and see what's happening with the drivers.
Yeah, listen, last time round 1 at Hi-Tec at Calder Park in Melbourne, unfortunately the tail shaft let go. I mean, I've got such a good drive line in this car now. Engine's great, gearbox is fantastic, and the diff down the back's great as well, but the part in between broke, right? So I snapped the tail shaft. When that's connected to the rear wheels at 160 kilometres an hour, obviously you can imagine when that universal lets go, it makes a lot of mess. So that put us out in practice. So as we all know, I borrowed a car last round and I still got up and on the podium, which was great, but fantastic to be back in the GT86 this weekend for Hi-Tec.
There was a lot of changes yesterday, so the judges didn't really get to set their mind towards the end of the day. So once they got the final line set out, it was pretty good. But as you know, the conditions weren't 100%. It was always rain, on, off. So 1 minute it was grippy, 1 minute it was real slippery. But I think we've got the cars dialed in towards the end. We're feeling confident, so hopefully we can smoke the track out. That's our plan today.
I really like the track. We got a few dry runs yesterday. There was a lot of wet weather, but I just love coming up against that wall coming into turn 1. It's good fun.
It is rather tricky with the speed, and some of the criteria they've set is rather challenging, but it's good. I hope I have what it takes, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to get there.
All the drivers here today are really on the A game, and they're all at the top end of the tree. So look, it's going to be fantastic battles throughout the day.
Into pro qualifying now, and Scott Shembry's got to be stoked, scoring himself second position there in qualifying in the company car. Dan, what's the key points on this track and how these guys scored them?
Definitely we've tuned it up a little bit from what you're used to seeing at this venue. We've made sure we've extended that middle section to almost give them a little bit of a stall point, an opportunity for the chase driver to catch up. We'll see that later in battles this afternoon, hopefully, if the guys are taking that point. You see Bo just getting right out there, a little bit of gap allowed on that first corner, switch it back through, head into the top section, and then again it's just a little bit of speed and push up the hill, but making sure you really, really dial the angle on there.
Nicely done. We're going to head to J-Mac in the pits to see what Shembry thought of that qualifying run.
Scott Shambry, one half of the Hi-Tec Blaze unit. How's the 350 feeling today?
Oh, mate, it's feeling killer. Between round 1 and now, Raf's put a new Winters quick change rear end in it, so we've took it to Porter suspension. He added some more grip, and it's just been on fire. Yesterday, the conditions were horrendous. We got a few good runs in the dry, but this morning felt really good. Our first qualifying run, we were on a smoker. Unfortunately, I threw too much angle trying to do a backy and spun it, but the second one, we got another one banked in and finished up in second position, so that's really good. We get a buy into the top 16 and feeling good for battles, mate.
Heaps of hype in the pits already, and you can see that making its way out onto the track with a bit of contact there. Cooterell Hooley get a bit of a love tap from behind, but you know, it happens in drifting. These guys trying to get nice and close. There is the infamous X-Drift, and bam, Boma drilling that tyre wall there. I bet he's going to have a stiff neck after that one.
Not the way that he wanted to enter into his first category or first pro event. We've got Michael Ginn now taking on Senatani and really taking him on.
Oh, big hit there. Lucky Ginn knows a guy at Dory Junkie Imports who can get him some more of that BN Sports kit, eh? But looks like just having a few issues with the way that the car's steering there, going off the track, you know, in both of his runs, and he's not going to be happy with that. So our top 16 ladder is now decided with the qualifying run and done. I can't wait to see Moel Hooley go up against Brad Toohey and Scott Shambry up against the long traveller of Danny Probert all the way down here from Northern Territory in that X-Drift. But the first battle we're going to see is Bo Yates up against Mitch Doyle, who's also travelled quite some way down.
Mitch Doyle coming all the way from the NT. First season with the Hi-Tec Series up against our current champion and series leader. So
look at the smoothness of that entry. Bo just nicely giving it that quick scando and out against the wall, while Mitch Doyle reeling him in, chasing him down, and has some great speed there, but almost a dirt drop that's turned into a speed stall and has allowed Bo to pull away in front there. That's not a mistake you can make when you're battling Bo Yates.
He won't let you get away with anything like that. And you can see Mitch just trying to get up and take that pocket I was talking about in the qualifying earlier. He got right in there, but a little bit too deep, and it stalled him up. It's a really technical section to get right, and you'll see the drivers as they progress through tuning it up a little bit more.
Nice entry there from Mitch Doyle, though, giving it, again, just that little weight transfer to face the wall and flick back, which can be quite daunting if you're not familiar with the circuit, but he seems much more comfortable with the length and the distance of this short track now, getting the rhythm, transitioning nicely, and a sharp re-entry into that last section there. Great lead run from Mitch Doyle, but I've got a feeling that that earlier advantage from Bo Yates is going to see Bo go through. Let's check out the replay now.
Yeah, absolutely correct there, Dave. That big entry, the great angle. He's done it all in the lead run and run a really nice lead. A little bit off that clip there as he came back through there. And again, a little bit of a straight and a bobble coming up the straight. But otherwise, pretty good run for a guy that's first time out of this circuit. You know, Bo's done a lot of laps around here. Got a really dialed in car. The win goes to Bo.
There we go, thanks to Kitten Ultra. Bo Yates going through. We have Patrick Barley now leading Aaron Duar. And Aaron Duar, man, he has been so hungry the whole way through, and he's really just calming down his driving style and learning how to battle there, but really a little bit too calm on the entry there. I think just trying to avoid contact with the lead car, he seems to be considerably slower than that Cloud Factory lightweight Duar Racing Engines S14.
Patrick Barley, another one of our NT drivers coming all the way down, doing a great little job out here, stepping up into the pro category, still trying to get to grips with that car, and you can see that in that run. It wasn't the neatest of lead runs, but still a good one, and great to see Patrick out there having a real good go. And actually, one thing you might have noticed, and watch as he follows along in the chase position here, he's one of the few drivers that can left foot brake in our field.
Yeah, right. Seems to be quite a talented driver, and I know people have been driving Wakefield for years that still struggle to nail short track, so to come down here and drive so well against Aaron Duar, who has driven here quite some time, is merit in itself to Barley.
Well, on top of that too, you've got to remember that the practice all day yesterday was wet, dry, wet, dry, wet, dry for the entire 6 hours of practice the guys got. So they never really got to chase the setup in any one direction. So to come out, throw down and string 2 laps together against someone like Aaron Duar, who, remember, he won here in December last year. Not a bad run from Patrick. I think he should be really proud, and thanks to Good Ride again for providing these replays.
And, you know, this is the section here where Duar's coming onto, where that dry track can mean a huge difference in speed, and Duar seems happy with that and gets the win for himself. Next, cabs off the rank. Roger Ianson will be leading Cooterell Hooley in that big, powerful Turbo LS 8.6. I love this car, Dan.
Yeah, I love that car too, but I also really like the look of Roger's car, all the way from SA. Great to see the SA guys coming to have a play. Spends a lot of time at one of our judges' tracks, JDM X Park, just feeding his way in. A wheel drop there, though, unfortunately, is going to hurt him a little bit. And again, 2 wheels off there. It's all over. In fact, it's 4 wheels now. All over in this battle, this half of the battle. He's got a long way to come back in the chase.
That's a hard one, but yeah, Roger Jansen, very cool looking S15, quite unique, and I like how he's gone all over it and added his own unique style with some of that highlighted, high-vis pinstriping. But Cooter El Hooley all over the rear quarter of that S15 that seems to have again found that outside dirt zone. So not the neatest lap there for Roger Jansen, but at least he's made the travel and we can't wait to see him come back and be a part of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars.
Yeah, coming into the pits here though, Dave, that looks like there may have been an issue with that. We might have to come back and see the second part of that run. And I'm just hearing word that confirmation now, he has called his 5-minute rule, so we'll come back and see what happens with that later.
While Roger's spinning spanners, we're going to keep the battles going. And next up, we've got Angus Kidd chasing down Alexander Kantarovsky in that white S15. Nice aggressive angle there and a bit of a bobble from Angus Kidd in the rear, which isn't what we've expected to see from him before. Normally a very aggressive driver, but Alexander dropping some wheels off the track edge there. So this could really go either way, and I think it's going to come down to the next run, but an aggressive reinitiation there from Angus Kidd, chasing down that little white S15. Man, that Supra's got some mumbo.
Well, watching the Good Ride replay here, Dave, you can see the 2 wheels were dropped while Angus Kidd was still under drift. And what that means is that Alexander's unfortunately going to get a 0 and ends the battle effectively there, so it's a 10-0 advantage to Angus Kidd heading out into the lead. It's an unfortunate way to take a lead, but this is competitive drifting and there are rules.
That's it. And speaking to Angus Kidd prior to the round, he's put a lot of work into this car to increase the speed and make it a bit more reliable so he can focus on driving. Seems like both these cars in terms of speed are pretty well matched, with Alexander nicely matching the speed of Angus Kidd here. If it wasn't for that 10-0, I'd say that Angus had a bit of a battle on his hands, but pulling away there onto the last straight, and again, that beautiful reinitiation with a whole lot of angle through the last corner.
Yeah, very, very close run from that one in the second position. You see Angus running a little bit off the clip now. Remember that first zone, we've actually given them a metre off the edge there to try and set them up and push them further down into this stall zone they've just gone through now. So not a bad run. Alexander doing everything he can to stay in that chase position and put the pressure on for Angus to make a win, an error. Instead, he makes a win.
It looked to me, though, like Angus's car might have been losing power a little bit across the line because he did the big chuck and then it wasn't blazing away. But anyway, we'll see how it survives through the rest of the battles as we sit on board now with Scott Shembry and then Danny Probert in X Drift. Man, do I love this XD Falcon.
It's a wicked car. I remember my sister lives in Darwin and I went and saw this thing before it was even released, first time it had ever been done. I had a chat to Danny and his boys. I spent about 5-10 minutes and then he invited me back the next day to meet the team. Had a yarn to them then. That was, I guess, the start of them wanting to come and do this. You might recall they did one round last year with us and they said that was awesome, so they're back for the full season. This car is an absolute weapon, and once Danny gets it all tuned in, I expect to see him a lot closer to that Hi-Tec 350 than it was there.
Happy to have him here, and I was also happy to have Scott Shembry up in the booth with me last year, but see what happens when you're not here, mate? We just talk about everyone except you. That's all right. Scott Shembry in the chase now, driving the company car, the Hi-Tec Oils 350Z. Twin turbo V8 under the bonnet of that thing if you're not familiar with it, and this thing cooks, as Shembry would say. He's foaming on this car and you can see him nicely reeling in the distance he's got with Danny Probert there, but knowing that he does have a little bit of an advantage from both the speed and the cleanliness of his lead run.
Yeah, Scott Shembry doing what he does best, getting up on people's doors. I went for a ride with Scott on Friday practice yesterday, mate, and had an absolute ball. And as he comes around, when he's in the lead position after this switchback here, he's actually clicking fourth gear and, in Scott's own word, absolutely cooking, mate. Did I get that close?
Yeah, it was pretty close, man. I could have sworn if I looked the other way that he'd be up here next to me. And there we have it from Kitten Ultra. Scott Shembry going through. Next battle up, Mo El Hooley up against Brad Toohey. Two very high horsepower LS cars, both getting a fair chunk of boost down and by some different power adders. Brad Toohey's got the twin supercharger set up, and I believe Mo is turbocharged.
That's right, yeah, Mo is turbocharged, and both these guys had an unfortunate run down in Melbourne, and Brad fighting a little bit of an entry there, but they'll be looking for redemption. I know Cooter and Mo drove all the way up here to make sure they set down the record, set it straight, and made sure that they're going to be the top of the tree when they head home.
Look at the calmness from Brad Toohey behind the wheel, though. In the office of that big power 8.6, nice reach to the handbrake. We did see Mo there dropping a wheel, but it was after the finish line, so that's all well and good.
All exactly right. Yeah, now after the finish line, you can drop wheels, spin, do whatever you want to do. There are obviously rules about how you get out of the drift, but yeah, you're exactly right. Looking at Brad, so comfortable behind the line. I mean, he's a 4-time Australian champion, so you don't get that sort of level of skill and driving without being comfortable in the machinery that you're driving. Mo, looking equally as comfortable. Look at him, comes right up on that door. What a run from Big Mo.
Beautiful emulation from Mo through the middle there. He closed that gap nicely behind Toohey, but I think he was just expecting a bit more speed coming back out onto the main circuit, because you could see him kind of slow down a little bit and then Toohey pulling away with the power, as I think Moe was trying to carry a bit more speed consistently through the corner. So it's going to be a hard one for the judges, but I think... Oh, yeah, there it is. It's Mo El Hooley there. Brad Toohey, unfortunately, on the trailer. And his competition for the day, run and done.
Just a couple too many errors from Brad Toohey, particularly in the chase position, and we had to give it to Mo in the end.
Next up on the chase is Senatani, led by James Abbott in that beautifully wrapped Hi-Tec Oils Blaze Unit S15. Big power and recently built JZ under the bonnet. But Senatani, bringing it home with that naturally aspirated V8 that we have seen becoming ever so popular in drifting worldwide, but definitely in this series as well. I personally love myself a big boosted Japanese motor, and it seems in this case that James Abbott has used that to his advantage. Very nicely led there, and he'll now get a chance on the chase as Bo Yates looks on eagerly.
Yeah, well, Bo Yates is possibly going to have to battle one of these guys later on in the day. Senna now leading it out. Drove really well this weekend, actually. You remember in the first round, Dave, he had to borrow, I think it was Damien Cook's car, when his car unfortunately did an engine on the dyno just before he was due to leave Queensland and come down. So he flew down for the event anyway, ended up getting handed a race suit and a helmet and was told to get out there and drive.
Yeah, nice. That's proper pro race driver stuff there. Throw the keys back at the end of the day, off we go.
Yeah, doing a pretty good run here in his lead position too. The Good Ride replay just showing us as he gets along through that second outer zone. James Abbott, though, tucking right in close, right up on his door, and definitely going to win in the proximity stakes here.
Let's see where Jabs comes out in the smoke, and he's in there right on Senatani, and there's the confirmation from Kitten Ultra. James Abbott getting the win. Next up, my man Finney O'Hare. Oh, such an aggressive driver. Up against Matt Van Kirk, a Formula Drift driver who has come down under to compete. Last time piloting some of the El Hooley cars, this time in Paul Alexander's supercharged V8 S13 from the Running Hearts Drift team. And look how tightly he's chasing Finney O'Hare there. Nice bit of angle from Matt Van Kirk, but then the smoke machine is turned on and Finney O'Hare on the power of that big 2JZ Wheel Shop S15, the battle weapon, as it comes out onto the back straight. Nice shallow angle, and here comes the reinitiate, but a bit of understeer there from Finney, while Matt Van Kirk chases pretty neatly there. It's going to be on the line as the position switch, Dan.
Yeah, look, overall, though, a more dominant run from Finney. He had it all the way through, except for that last corner, so definitely a points advantage to him. And great to see Finney qualifying 5th this weekend and really being able to get some... and contact too. As I was saying, good to see Finney getting on top of this car. Let's hope the thing holds together. It's been having some gremlins previous rounds, and I'd really like to see him do well this weekend.
That reinitiation a little bit better. May have just been struggling with the understeer there. But Matt Van Kirk on the entry to short circuit here, grabbing the handbrake, getting in there and trying to tuck in, but just ending up that little bit deep. 2 wheels and then a 3rd wheel out into the dirt. Quick clip from Finney as he comes past him, but that's a 10-0 right there, and the advantage handed to Finney.
Yeah, look, that's going to be all Finney needs to take the win in this one, and definitely dominated in his lead run. Back in the lead position again, and back on leading into the top 8.
Hard decision there for someone who's come down all the way from America to compete here, but we do have our top 8 decided. We're going to see Bo Yates against Aaron Jouar, Angus Kidd and Cooter El Hooley, Scott Shembry and Mo El Hooley, and James Abbott up against Finney O'Hare in the battle of the 2Js.
Danny Probert, a tough battle with Scott Shembry, him taking the win in the end, but the XD, what a weapon.
Yeah, look, Scott's a class operator, so we always knew that we had to throw everything down at it. To be honest with you, we were pretty scrappy yesterday in practice, so it was really, really good to be able to actually throw down some consistency today. So it's definitely need to be working on our Friday game to get it up the ladder. Look, at the end of the day, I'd like to thank my sponsors, ACUG, Ryco Filters, Fuchs Oils for coming on board, Valino Tyres for helping us do this massive series. It's been so good to be part of the series, and yeah, we're really happy.
Such a great dude and an awesome driver to boot. We're going to go to a quick break before diving into the top 8 of the Hi-Tec Drift Allstars Pro Series, along with the top 4 of the famous Insurance Pro-Am. We are back for round 2 of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars down at Wakefield Park Raceway, a fantastic short track circuit that is so technical, and you see a lot of the drivers thriving in, but also some struggling to find the line, dropping wheels, struggling with these clips. So as we get into the top 8, it's going to be critical to see some clean runs. But before we get into that, J-Max down in the pits getting us the good word.
Mo, you are still in the running, and we did just make mention that you and your brother Cooter are on opposite sides of the battle tree. How cool would it be to see you both in a final together?
Look, man, that'll be a fairy tale to tell the truth, both of us 1 and 2, but look, we've got Shembri up next, the Hi-Tec car, so let's hope we can put a tough battle to that and come through with the win. If we don't, we don't. At the end of the day, we're both on the separate side of the battle tree, so if one of us can take it home, it's better than nothing.
Here we go. Time for the top 8 of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars Pro Series. We've got both the El Hooley brothers on either side of the ladder, so they could end up facing off against each other, which we've already seen before. But first, we have Bo Yates up against Aaron Duar, and man, is this going to be a fast battle.
Look, we've seen this sort of a battle in a final, so to see it in a top 8, we're guaranteed to have something epic. I'm excited.
Oh, Bo just rides that wall so nicely with a fantastic snap out to a sharp angle. But Duar is there with him with some fantastic speed. Just that touch behind in the emulation from the switchback in the midfield. Will he emerge from the smoke? And it looks like Bo has pulled a bit of a gap there onto the back straight. But then that Duar Racing Engines very light S14, reeling that back in slightly just in the very, very last section of it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Dab's making too much of an error there in that early corner, just running a little bit wide, a bit off the line, which was a metre off the corner, giving Bo that opportunity to step away from him. Once he's done that, he won't get him back. You can see now Bo right up on that door. Have a look now, see if he takes the pocket. Gets close, but not quite there. But again, he's going to be much closer to Aaron as we go up this hill.
King of emulation as well, Bo Yates. Through each step there, just switching back. Bang on cue. As Duar moves, he moves, and vice versa. It's beautiful to watch.
Yeah, both drivers having a pretty good lead run. It comes down in the end to the chase run, and for me, it's Bo Yates that's done a little bit better job of the chasing. So really difficult to split. Both drivers running, like I say, the good lead run, which means you can run that good chase run, but you've got to make sure you do it. Bo Yates getting the win.
It really could have gone either way with how well Duar has been driving of late, but in those 2 runs specifically, Bo got the win and he's through to the top 4. Next up, we have Scott Shembri up against Mo El Hooley. Both of these cars, big power turbo V8s, and both of them have been on song and so fast through this midfield section. Here comes the entry from the chef. Nice entry towards the wall there. Coming out wide, big gate flame under the car, but Mo El Hooley tucking in, sacrificing a little bit of the judge line to do it and cutting that little bit narrow, but beautiful emulation through the middle there. Cutting over that ripple strip, and it looks like one wheel off, which could hurt him. Another bobble there through the midfield for the reinitiation, whereas that Hi-Tec Oils 350Z, beautiful straight line up the straight with that sharp reinitiation, which is exactly what you guys were asking for in driver's briefing, right, Dan?
Yeah, Scott Shembri just executing almost a perfect judge run there from the lead position, and like you said, Dave, you called it right. Mo El Hooley just sacrificing a little bit of line to try and get up there, and on that switch back the second time as they're coming up to now, where he sacrificed that line, drop that wheel, it catches you up too quick. You have to just feather the throttle a bit, and by that time the other guy has grabbed 4th gear and disappeared. Mo, though, running a pretty good lead run.
Really nice lead. It looks like someone might have forgot a bonnet pin, so very lucky that that hasn't gone up over the roof and windscreen. Aggressive entry from Mo there, but Scott is right with him. And what an angle to watch just how close these cars are chasing side by side. You know, like you said, clicking fourth gear coming out onto the circuit. So there's some serious pace behind them, especially through this last section here. And here's that reinitiation we were talking about. Mo managing to get it in a single beautiful smooth drift. Many drivers just having different styles there, but it is the fastest way to run that section and one that everybody strives for when they come down to Wakefield and drive short track.
Yeah, great run from the both of them in the lead run. Definitely it was a Scott Shembry chase that won that one.
Now on to Cooter El Hooley, who is leading Angus Kidd. Big gap straight off the start line there, but will Angus be able to reel him back in? Bit of a bobble, but Cooter right out to the track edge. I don't know if it was a wheel drop, but that definitely was, which is going to give Angus Kidd another advantage as a result of a wheel drop. He's been a lucky boy today.
A lot of luck there for Angus Kidd, and look at him right back on the door, taking all those advantages and driving probably a little bit more ahead of where his experience is. You can see he's a big gap here. He's got to catch that up. Bit messy going into the start there as we watch the Good Ride replay. Both drivers getting right to that track edge, not dropping wheel until here. And that's a big one. That was a really big error from Cooter in the lead. Angus taking all that advantage and closing right up on him.
You can see when Angus's car is on power, though, it's really got some pace, especially through that back section that we were just talking about in the last battle. He managed to reel Cooter in a little bit, so it's going to be interesting to see now Angus out in the lead, seeing if he can stretch those legs and whether he will pull away from Cooter, who's just again left the track surface.
Well, we're definitely going to see him pull away now. Unfortunately, that's not two, that's 3, 4 wheels off, and that's going to be a 0, and that's going to hand Angus the win. Definitely not the way Angus would want to beat Cooter El Hooley, and I wonder, remember this car had steering issues, and look at that front wheel wobble there. Had steering issues in Melbourne. I wonder, they boys thought they had it fixed. Maybe it's reared its ugly head again, and that could be the reason why Cooter's back on the trailer.
And if it wasn't that, maybe there was something unsettled in the rear end by the wheel hit, because it seemed to enter, settle, and then straighten and go off the track edge. So maybe steering, maybe rear end, but either way, Angus Kidd going through onto the next battle now. James Abbott leading Finney O'Hare to 2JZ S15 side by side, and how tight!
Finney O'Hare getting up on the door. Let's go, boy. Good to see. James Abbott, though, just calm, cool, collected, hitting those clips, driving around where he needs to go. This is a good battle, Dave. I'm excited.
Yeah, meanwhile, Jab's in the cockpit just checking his Instagram feed on the iPad there while he's cruising through. Seemed to have some great speed there through the last section, but Finney all over that door on the entry. Let's see what he does in the lead now as the positions are switched. Coming up down the wall now, preparing for that entry. James with him. Finney with that typical big 1, 2, 3 weight transfer. He loves throwing the rear of that car around. James with him, not quite as tight as we saw from Finney, but through the second section here, reeling that in. Beautiful emulation there and tucking into the pocket behind Finney. Let's see as they come out onto that back straight there, and that is textbook from James Abbott.
Yeah, what a great chase from James. He's been doing it so long, and again, another one of our champions still out there battling it on to see if they can get the wins, take it down and see if they can get another championship on this. Finney O'Hare, though, running a perfect line around there, just that 1 metre off that they're allowed to be. James right there in the pocket where he's supposed to be. As they switch back there, scaring the grass. James again in the pocket. This is an awesome chase and really a textbook chase that, you know, guys at home should be watching and learning from, because, you know, he's one of the best.
There's the win for James Abbott. Beautiful battle, but Finney O'Hare, nice and close. We now have our top 4 decided, and we're going to see Bo Yates go up against Angus Kidd. Man, there's been some JZ on JZ battles so far. And then the teammates, Hi-Tec Oils Blaze Unit, Scott Shembry, James Abbott, and we know neither of these guys will throw a battle.
Bo Yates into the top 4. How are you feeling?
Well, it's always a tough battle when you come up against a drift mullet. I mean, Aaron's such a good driver, and the car just makes like so much smoke. So, look, I'm not sure what happened. My lead was pretty good. I was quite comfortable on my lead. In the chase, it was still a bit scrappy. I could have probably been a little bit closer, but the judges awarded me the win and through to the top 4. So, you know, really happy for everyone involved. The Toyota Genuine Parts 86 is it's going really well this weekend.
Back into the action with drama in the pits. Angus Kidd, Matty Trevena, and the whole crew there spinning spanners and trying to work out what I believe is an issue with belts here. So they're trying to see the front accessories belts that drive you things like your alternator, your water pump, a few things like that. Trying to get that car back up and running for a top 4 spot that Angus Kidd is eager to get into and try to get his way onto the podium. But first, our Pro-Am top 4 with Mark McTiernan chasing down Brendan O'Grady in that bright green JZX 100 Mark II. Ooh, one of my dream cars.
Yeah, a great looking car. Turned out well. Just clipping the wall a little bit there on the entry, using all of that length to get right around there. Great looking cars, these ones, for the Pro-Am category. Good chase from the Mark McTiernan thing. I thought he was going to slide into the side of Brendan there for a second. Again, taking that shallow angle, which will be a small deduction for him. Dropping off a little bit like we've seen all day. Good lead from Brendan.
Position switch now, though, on Brendan O'Grady chasing Mark McTiernan. Let's see if there's much of a difference in speed as the positions are switched. Mark nicely blazing away there, finding those outside lines. Brendan O'Grady potentially bettering him there, and then the wheels leaving the track surface. That is an obvious win there for Brendan O'Grady. He's got to be stoked with that.
But Mark definitely wanting to stay in the lead there, not giving up that lead position, even with 2 wheels off the track. Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately for Mark McTiernan, quite a nice lead run up until then. Dropping those 2 wheels is going to give him a 0. Brendan O'Grady doing everything he needed to in the chase position too. Even slightly bettering the line through there. You can see he was a little bit further off that clip, so probably would have got the win either way. Definitely got it now and through into his final.
Easy enough to end up deep there, Mark McTiernan. We've all done it before, so I don't feel too bad about that, mate. Hive of activity down there in the pits around Angus Kidd's car. Looks like Matt Trevena and Scott Shembry are throwing a few different ideas around while Kidd gloves up. Let's hope they get it back out there. What's happening, J-Mate?
I'm actually down here at the moment and I have some information. They've put a new belt on the accessory drives on the front of the motor. However, it's not running over the water pump. It's going to send it anyway. Anything could happen.
You are a wild man, Angus Kidd, and I'd have you no other way. Anyway, Roger Ianson now leading Daniel Mesmer, who's become the wonder child in our Famous Insurance Pro-Am. Seems to be chasing nicely, not giving Roger Ianson much of a gap at all in this chase. Oh, pulled away though. Maybe I cursed him.
Yeah, a bit of an error from Dan. That's not something we usually get to see. Usually very, very methodical in the chase position. Let's see how he goes in the lead. Remember, Roger Ianson doing both categories this weekend. Unfortunately not making it to fix the car in his top 5 for his pro, so he's back out here, battled his way through the top 4 for the Pro-Am category.
Nice entry from Daniel Mesmer, but Roger Ianson in pretty much the last 2/3 of this layout is all over the rear quarter. So you combine that with the fact that Daniel Mesmer was left behind in his chase run, and I'm pretty confident that Roger's going to get the nod here, Dan.
Famous Insurance replay showing us that Roger is all over the back of Dan, a position we're used to seeing him there. Great run from them. You can see not making errors there, and you're exactly right, Roger Ianson getting the win.
Damn, I'm good, but no way would I want to be a judge. So thank you very much for making that decision, mate, and we will move on now. In our battle for third, we'll see Mark McTiernan battling Daniel Mesmer, while fighting it out for the top step is Brendan O'Grady up against Roger Ianson. Before we see the Pro-Am run, though, we will be back into the top 4 of Pro. A lot of tight battles we're going to see here. But first, the teammates, the Hi-Tec Oils Blaze unit, James Abbott up against Scott Shembry in what's become affectionately known as the company car, that twin-turbo V8 Hi-Tec Oils 350Z. That leaves the line now, leading James Abbott. Entering hard there, facing the wall, and James is right there with him in the chase. Big wastegate flame under the car of that 350Z that we've seen before, and a spin! Oh, that's a big one, and Shembry is going to be foaming, and not in a good way.
Very uncharacteristic from Shembry there, spinning in the lead position. In fact, uncharacteristic for him to spin at all. Let's see if we can watch this good ride replay here and diagnose what happened. He's getting out wide, gets that angle on, turns the power on, and I think he just genuinely made a mistake. There's definitely no tap there from Jabs, so it's all down to Shembry turning it on and putting a little bit too much angle too early. He knew it was going to be a close battle.
You could see the front wheels of the car were on full lock, so I think he just started to ramp up that wheel speed, and a car that powerful will wheel speed you pretty quick, and once the car's going around, there's very little you can do, even with big steering angle. But you can see he's eager to defend his reputation. James Abbott laying down a killer lead run, but Scott Shembry looks like he's trying to leave tyre marks on the back of that car. Even though this battle is probably already decided, Shembry is not going to go out without a fight. and it shows. Beautiful demonstration from the Blaze Unit Drift team of exactly why they are veterans of this sport.
Scott Shembry now pulling right up on the door. Look at the proximity there. That is awesome to see. Shows that he's got great trust in his teammate, James Abbott. These two have been drifting together at competitions, demonstrations, you name it. They've been there, they've done it together, and it's great to see them back out there and battling. And what an opportunity to see them out there in competition and battling against each other. Awesome run from Scott Shembry, but unfortunately it's not going to be enough after his misdemeanor in the first run. James Abbott's going to take the win there.
That's a big result, and one of these drivers will be facing off against James Abbott for that top step, while the other will be battling for third against Scott Shembry. Let's see which one it'll be as Bo Yates leads Angus Kidd. Angus entering real early there, but has a lot of ground to make up on the Toyota Genuine Parts 8.6 as Bo Yates is on the power early and blazing through that infield. Switching back nicely there, going just a touch deeper than I think he meant to there, but still plenty of gap to play with, and it looks like a bit of an advantage both speed and line-wise there to Bo Yates in his lead.
Yeah, Angus's car just seemed a little bit slower off the line, and I wonder if that water pump not running is causing some heat issues, but definitely a killer run right on point from the Good Ride replay showing the Toyota Genuine Parts 8.6 there, filling that zone perfectly. And you're right, a little bit long, but still able to maintain the drift, getting away, lots of angle, the reinitiation like we asked for. Boom, 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 tick, tick, tick. Bo Yates, a great lead run. Angus has got a little bit of work to do here.
Watching that again, you know what, Dan? I reckon a cooler pipe might have blown off Angus's car, because you saw that thing, it's 500 plus kilowatt, like it blazes, and it came through the midsection okay, but on the switchback and over the bump that brings you back onto the main circuit, it looks like Angus was expecting it to step out on him and blaze, and it just straightened up, and uncharacteristically, he entered the last corner with handbrake instead of under power, but it does seem to be up and going again now. A nice stream of smoke, but there we go again. Yeah, I reckon he's having cooler piping issues there, because the good thing with these aftermarket ECU cars is you can pop a cooler pipe off, they're running off the map sensor, they'll keep going, there just won't be any boost. And Angus doing the gentlemanly thing there, knowing that he was the slower car as Bo Yates comes flying in behind him. Angus leaving the track surface and making sure that there was no danger as a result of his mechanical issue.
Yeah, I've just heard word that apparently Angus has reported back to his pits he does have a boost scenario issue, so whether it's a cooler pipe popping off or maybe a hole in it too, Dave, sometimes that can cause similar sort of scenario. But yeah, so Angus, unfortunately, with a car that's trying to throw itself into a million pieces this round, not giving him what he needed to take on someone of the likes of Bo Yates, and he'll go through.
This is insane. Not only is there action happening out on track, but it's also happening here in pit lane. Shembry, tough break. Jabbett's one over you.
Oh, yeah, we get way too keen. We drive together. I've been driven with this guy in 2 years. So, you know what, we don't have to go out and put on a show. Unfortunately, I overcooked it, but hopefully put on a good show in the chase. Probably the best chase I've done in that car to date. So, listen, we're getting more confident in the car. He's getting more confident in his car. So we're coming back with force, mate.
Jabs, you're into the final.
Yeah, it's just a sign of what Blaze Unit can do. Put us on the track. I thought there was going to be panel damage, but we got away with that one. I don't know what was happening down the back straight after the finish line, but you definitely beat me there. Got him this time into the finals. He's going to get it into the top four, take the third, double podium for Blaze Unit.
We're going to head to a quick break before diving into the top four of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars. Welcome back to the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars. Down at Wakefield Park Raceway, Scott Shembry ending up in the battle for third as a result of a spin. Angus Kidd going there as a result of a mechanical. Both of these guys are going to be eager to redeem themselves with that third place finish, while Bo Yates and James Abbott duke it out once more for first and second. I can't wait.
3 champions in the top 4. It's going to be awesome. Angus Kidd getting in amongst the champions there to have a crack and see what he can do. Let's get down to J-Mac and see what's going on.
Well, car's running okay. It's good. We managed to limp it across the line with a backup belt. Wasn't quite the right size and it wasn't spinning the water pump. But for one battle, that was fine. That got us through. So the boys are changing the belts and making sure the thing hasn't overheated. Other than that, the car's perfect. It's gripping up, nitrous, everything, the whole bit. It's fantastic. I'm loving it.
Gus, you mad dog. I love the smile on his face, and you know that he's going to bring everything he can to that battle for third. But first, let's finalise our Famous Insurance Pro-Am Series as Daniel Mesmer leads Mark McTiernan.
Mark just seemed to have a bit of a slow entry there. I'm not sure. Maybe he's got an issue with his car and a small bobble. Possibly even a straight. And I'll have a look back at the replay and double check that. But yeah, Mark's car just off now at the moment for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on with that big V8.
Daniel Mesmer, though, nice and clean out in front and a snappy reinitiation there into that last corner. Exactly what the judges were asking for. Impressive drive there from Mesmer in the leader, and you're right, I think there were some mechanical issues there for Mark McTiernan in the chase. As we head to the Famous Insurance replay, both cars neatly together there, but then, like you said, it looked as if the car lost just that little bit of power and straightened it up. It is still managing to overcome the rear tyres, and Mark doing his best to drive it, but it just doesn't seem to be quite on song as we've seen in previous battles. Daniel Mesmer crossing the line there, and they will reverse position. So now it's Mark McTiernan's turn to lead, and we'll see whether or not that car manages to get through a clean run in the lead and whether or not that mechanical gremlin goes away. Daniel Mesmer all over the rear bar there and tucking in neatly. Both drivers just that little bit shallow through the midsection, but again, Mark McTiernan's car just dying. Definitely something wrong there. This is a really, really slow lead. Daniel now doing the right thing, I guess, dropping back off the back so he can maintain some drift in what we would normally require them to do as a qualifying line. Although the second half of that, for some reason, it seems like Mark got that power back. So I don't know whether maybe it's a fuel problem, maybe a pump not picking up, or I don't know. But if you look at this entry in the Famous Insurance replay, you can see Mark is really, really slow and struggling with the car there. And all of a sudden, just here, he seems to light the thing back up on the switchback, and then it goes, disappears again. So don't know what that's about. Unfortunately, too much of a mess up for him in the first one, trying to struggle through the power issues, and Daniel Mesmer is going to take third place today. There we go, he gets the nod, and now our battle for the top step. Roger Ianson, who's been driving in both the Pro and the Pro-Am, has found his way onto the podium, but which step will it be going up against Brendan O'Grady in that JZX 100 Mark II? Roger Ianson stepping up into the drifting world after doing some time in the prototype cars. Good to see him out there leading this battle and doing a great job out in front, really hitting those clips and those points as he drags that thing round through the corner. But Brendan O'Grady right there with him. This is a pretty close battle, Dave. Very neat from both drivers too. It's probably the smoothest driving we've seen out of both of them, hitting those judge lines. And I think I could see a little bit of celebration in the cabin there as Roger crossed the line. You can see that's game face behind that helmet. Nice little dabs of handbrake just to settle the car on the line. But there's a great angle to see just how close Brendan O'Grady was getting through that entry. Now riding on board with Brendan as they come onto this back straight section, up a little bit of a bump there, blazing onto the back straight. And I don't know, they both did end up just that little bit shallow there, but I think Roger had the snappier entry into the last corner, and if I had to pick one just at this halfway point, I'd probably lean towards Roger, but the positions are switched, and we've got Brendan O'Grady now getting the chance to show what he can do in the front, and he's tapped the wall and gotten drilled by Roger in the chase there. Ouch! Yep, and this is where we get to do our work. Roger there, you can see putting his hand up. That's definitely a bonus for us, the judges. My initial thought was that Roger got it wrong. Brendan went out. We've seen plenty of guys tapping the wall. Let's watch on the Famous Insurance replay and see if we can dissect it a little bit more for you guys at home. Good view for it, and there's the nose. So it looks to me like as Brendan's entered and touched that wall, the wall scrape has not altered his line. So as Roger's come in, he really should have reacted to that lead driver, but instead he's failed to slow down and drilled the side of that car, giving Brendan O'Grady the win, who's now jumped up to second position on the leaderboard, only a couple of points behind Jeff Hayes, who's been doing so well in this series. I mean, Famous Insurance Pro-Am, the level of driving is coming up and up and up, and it's so impressive. But of course, the main event, the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars Pro Series, we're now seeing a battle for third where Scott Shembry will be leading Angus Kidd. This is going to be a good one. Hopefully those boys have got those cars tuned up and fixed. Scott won't make the same error he made before, so Angus can't be relying on that. Definitely not going to be the case. He's got the lead position again. Angus got to chase him down hard, stay on him, give it that super, that 2J engine, everything it's got to keep up with the 350. Wow, look how fast they've both come off the line there. Angus entering super duper hard, but potentially just carrying a bit more speed than he was able to then reel back and keep on the track surface. That's got to hurt because he did entirely leave that track surface, making it a 10-0 Shembry's way.
As we look at the good ride replay, you can see Angus coming up against the big boys, chasing them down, but just going a little bit too hot and hard in there. Great experience for Angus. I really think he's a star of the future, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he's doing. We've got J-Mac down there on the start line, eyeballing the action. Mate, what have you got for us?
Look, I have to say something these drivers really need to keep in the front of their mind is that the track is entirely in shade now. Really low ambient temperature and no sun on this track at all means track temp completely through the floor.
That's going to be really critical in the tail end of this comp because, you know, cold air during the daylight hours is fantastic for these cars, but as soon as that sun starts to dip down behind the hills, no sun on the track means track temp down, and suddenly it's almost like driving on ice, and you can see how much the rear of that Supra came round with Angus expecting just a bit more grip as he had throughout the rest of the day. Scott Shembry chasing down eagerly now, seems to have been lost in the smoke a little bit, and I think may have dropped off the track surface a little bit. It was hard to tell from that angle.
Yeah, I missed it too there, Dave, on the first watch. I was looking at Angus's line up ahead. The good ride replay might tell the story a little bit closer, and the good thing from a judging point of view is we do get to see these replays. So in cases like this where there's a little bit of separation, we can go back, have a look why, and find out what it was. That angle there definitely shows that Scott has popped off the track, dropped the wheel. Sorry, 2 wheels in fact, and it's going to mean that we're going OMT.
Both of these drivers having mistakes in their chase runs, and really the fairest thing to do is let them to run this battle again. Both of them, you know, it's right at the end of the day. We mentioned cold track temps before. I bet they're also running low on tyres, which when you're running 500 kilowatt plus can become a critical issue. We've got Scott Shembry leading now, and Angus, beautiful proximity there, right up against the wall as both of these drivers enter the short track together. This is a much needed version of the battle, each getting more comfortable with each other. Coming back onto the main circuit here, and Angus Kidd is right there all over the rear bumper of that 350Z. Seemed to back off slightly before reinitiating again and getting all over the rear quarter of Scott Shembry. Now that was the battle that would have been great to see the first time round, but one more time, let's them run that again. I think it's going to be critical now. It's going to be down to how well Angus can lead and where Shembry chases and how G'd up he gets.
Absolutely, the good ride replay there also showing something that we haven't mentioned yet today, Dave, and that is that the sun now coming through that smoke at a different angle brings a whole new element in on top of that cold track, on top of the changing conditions out there that the drivers are going to have to battle through.
It's challenging conditions for sure, and a race against daylight as much as it is a race against each other. But you can see they're both keen as. Quick shuckers out the window, off he goes. Gus out in the lead with Shembry in the chase. The Master Chef ready to throw down, but Game On Motorsports Supra is not going to be going home without a trophy if Gus can help it. Hitting that inside line there just a little bit off the midline that judges are asking for, while Shembry chilling back just a little bit there. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe the 350Z's a bit down on power or down on... Well, say down on grip. That'd do it. Rear tyres blazing away from the Blaze unit. 350Z there, cooking the rear tyres. I mean, I was saying before that these guys have been running out of tyre.
You know, I don't think Shembry knows that thing's on fire. He's still into it there. Hopefully the guys on the start line have actually got an extinguisher, so they'll be onto it. You can see, look, Shembry's aware of something now in the car, pulling up right next to our guy Kirk Dunn on the start line there, jumping out. Obviously Angus will be following him. The helmet's gone, and yeah, good. Quick work from the boys on the start line there, but wow, Angus again handing out another extinguisher. Get it out, boys, get it out. And critical thing there, you can see that safety is paramount. Angus could reach from the driver's seat his extinguisher, helps save what could have been a very expensive car lost there.
Yeah, some people, you know, they've got their own gripes with safety gear and they might whinge about it here and there, but, you know, if you think it's not important, yeah, it's not important until it is. And that's one of the situations where we've seen it, where everyone could react quickly and make sure that this beautiful drift car is saved and ready for another round. So
And look, you've got to remember too, this thing was on fire from when he comes up this straight here. So it starts to catch on fire around about here. It's a good 600-700 metres for that fire, getting fed plenty of wind and air, extra heat by the tyres continuing, Schembri going on. There's a fuel cell not far from there. This could have been a lot worse, Dave.
Oh, for sure. And, you know, fire does help you in the judges' eyes as well. So I think that's a pretty good one there with Schembri getting the win and Angus Kidd having a fantastic result. I'm sure he's going to be back at round 3, hyped as ever, trying to fight his way back onto the podium. Anyway, with that battle decided, it's now down to the main event, our final battle for first position, riding on board here with Bo Yates as he's just about to be released for his lead run up against James Abbott.
Yeah, Bo in the Toyota Genuine Parts, immaculate 86. He's current reigning champion and really someone to be messed with, not to be messed with, I should say. James Abbott, though, also a series and Australian champion in the Hi-Tec Oils car and another equally immaculately prepared car, although it's a little bit dirtier now, Dave.
Oh, I was just about to comment on how neat that entry was from Jabbett, tipping it right in, bettering the angle of Bo and tucking himself right in on the door. But then unfortunately they're having too much road speed or not enough rear grip to actually bring it into the short track and rocketing off the outside. So that's pretty easy 10-0 there for Bo right from the beginning of the run, although neither driver buttoned off. So we will see this run around again, but unless we see Bo the show Yates make an uncharacteristic mistake where he leaves the track surface with 2 or more wheels, we may have already decided our podium.
Well, I've seen plenty of the people that make or don't make characteristic mistakes. Scott Schembri spinning from the lead. Other guys all the way through the event making these uncharacteristic mistakes. It's a technical circuit out there, so I don't think it's done and dusted just yet, Dave. Don't shut up shop. Don't go grab those cold beers. We've got to stay around and make sure Bo Yates seals the deal.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, as much as Bo is a very consistent driver, anything can happen in motorsport, and I just love the way that James Abbott drives. You can see like he puts his heart on his sleeve, he's out there, he's so keen to battle and throw down with this car, and here we go again, another one of those aggressive entries. The front end of that car just seems to be set up so nicely. Bo there sitting right on the rear quarter there and just slightly bettering James Abbott's line, getting to that midline that the judges wanted. Quick tap on the rear wheel there, a little bit too close in proximity, but it didn't alter James Abbott's line, so there is no point deduction there. Both of them coming across the line here, but Jab's unable to shake that wickedly fast Toyota Genuine Parts 86.
As we watch the good ride replay here, Dave, you can see that James Abbott out in the lead. He's getting all those points he needs to. He's running the right lead line, much the same as Bo Yates did. Unfortunately, James making that error in the chase position is going to upset him, and Jabbett's not going to be able to take the win here. Bo Yates is going to be our champion from Wakefield. A killer, consistent run from him, and the track couldn't unsettle him.
Well, you're definitely living up to the Hi-Tec Oils Blaze unit moniker that's been slapped on you. What happened?
Oh, mate, Angus had no power steering. He's like, you want to go, let's go have some fun. Came around the last corner, just went past him. Obviously, got too much heat in the tyres. Thing lit up. I didn't even know I was coming back here. Oh, well, it was good fun, man. What a day. Enjoying driving this car now. I just got to thank Georgia Hi-Tec team. It's going really well. Can't wait to keep pushing.
Well, I called it at the beginning of the show that Bo Yates would be hungry to climb up that ladder, and there he is on the top spot with a 50-point lead over Cooterell Hawley and Scott Schembri only 5 points behind there. So this top 3 is tighter than ever, with Matt Van Kirk bumped down from 1st to 4th and Aaron Jouar rounding out the top 5.
Yeah, no, the car performed well. Like, obviously, I missed it last round, but to get back in it this weekend at Wakefield, second round of Hi-Tec, I mean, the car was an animal, yeah? Like, it felt really good. I had it at Porter's shop. He tweaked the alignment for me, and it felt like, to be honest, it felt mint. Like, it's the best it's felt in a long time, so.
And Porter Performance and Steering helps out a lot of the cars in this series, and I'm sure many of them will have a tweak before round 3 up at Queensland Raceway on Friday the 16th and Saturday the 17th of August. Be sure to get out there. We've got the Drift for Real running on the Friday, as well as we've got practice for Pro-Am and Pro. So if you ever see these guys driving on TV and think you want to throw down against them, there's your chance. Get up to QR.
50 drivers competing in this round. It's getting bigger and bigger. I can't wait.
Anyway, that's round 2 behind us. Thanks for joining me in the booth, Dan, and we'll see you next time.